Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spell Connection with the weekly comic book roundup, and we've already covered most of this week's Marvel books. We still got one left, and we've also got this week's DC books to cover. So let's get started, shall we? Kicking things off with Champions number 6. Where we left off, the Commonwealth's Law is still in effect, as brought up in last week's Children's Adam 2, but there's at least a possibility that it might go away. Especially when, after the reveal of Roxxon Corporation's involvement in some of the in re-education camps for teenagers in favor of the law, who stood against the law. So the issue begins. A group of costume criminals in New York is pulling off a heist in a bank. When the champions show up, fight them off, and then a representative from the bank arrives and tells the explains to the NYPD that they were actually a test heist. They were supposed to do a live test of their security system. The precinct was informed, but one of the members of the group says, "Oh, yeah, hey, hazard pay, right?" And well, he's informed, however, that it's not applicable because, as due to the Underage Superhuman Welfare Act still being in effect, the champions are not considered a legitimate team of superheroes. Which, for differing reasons, both the champions and the group they attempted to apprehend aren't happy about that. Ironheart's mad and storms off. Miles goes off to talk to her, and Nova flies part of the way with Miles before heading home himself, and while Miss Marvel and Vision talk about what to do. Later at Roxxon headquarters, they're unveiling their new social media app, Roxxon. It's being protested, however, by Snowguard. I still can't shake the feeling. I've heard, I know the name of the Roxxon executive who's the face of Roxxon's new change, Miriam Blakemore. I swear, when I find out who she is, it's gonna. Oh yeah, probably should have Googled before I looked at this. Oh well, but she, she's accused of. The company's accused of lying. And Blakemore states that Roxxon isn't lying to the kids; it's learning. They tried too hard to shield them from the dangers of superhero violence, and the kids felt hurt, and for that they apologize. But Snowguard's not buying the propaganda. After leaving the scene, she explains that she wants a coordinated bot campaign with potential anti-Snowguard hashtags, at least a dozen by the morning. Apparently, a loophole in terms of service indemnifies the company if she's not an account holder. She also wants someone capable of winning over people like Snowguard. So Ironheart and Miles have a chat about things, and she basically says she's going to be calling out a lot of stuff because, for a while everyone thought that she was for a while during Outlaw, everyone thought she was the traitor, but then Viv explains it was her, and everyone's willing to forgive just like that. So yeah, she's a little mad. Plus, she's got her own issues with Viv. At the Jersey City Mall, Kamala and her friend Bruno are taking a look at a Roxxon pop-up store. And Kamala's not happy about seeing this. It's like, this shouldn't be a thing. A former Stark Unlimited, a prodigy who used to work with Stark Unlimited, is brought on by Roxxon, but Blakemore's not happy about this. Andre Sims, the prodigy in question, is supposed to be the youth representative. Someone even Tony Stark's failing company washed their hands of, as she puts it. Jacobson is fired. One of the assistants is promoted, as she's the youngest person in the room. She also attempts to fire. She attempts to fire Sims, but he tells her that she doesn't want to do that because then she won't get to see what he's working on in R&D. Ironheart and her AI, Natalie, are not happy about Sims' hiring on at Roxxon. Apparently, he messed with Natalie's programming. Apparently, seemingly was not actually faced no consequences for doing so, legal consequences at least. But Kamala decides that if Roxxon wants to fight dirty, maybe they need to fight dirty too. At least while Kamala's law is in effect, there's certain things they can't do. They do have to be a little more cautious, at least. But it is stated that Roxxon brought the fight to the champions, to the teenagers' ultimate battleground, the internet. And it turns out that Andre Sims is working on a big-ass robot for Roxxon. And that is where the issue ends. Which will get us... the idea is interesting. We already know from the end of last issue that Miles and Sam, Spider-Man, and Nova will be going undercover within Roxxon as interns at Roxxon, as they both have fully usable secret identities. So I'm actually kind of surprised that wasn't already a plot point that was brought up. But I guess next issue or so, it's going to finally actually get brought up. But yeah. The beginning was interesting, and honestly, the villains for hire they were going up against actually kind of seemed like a group who might be kind of fun to see as actual villains, or as maybe potential allies in the future. Either way, yeah, some of them are annoying, but hey. They don't all sound alike. They're not, hey, it happens though. So yeah. I'm still not sure how I feel about the champion largely just being reduced to 5 members, but, we'll try it out. But yeah, anyway, solid issue. It's still bugging me who Miriam Blake was. I know I've heard that name. I know I have. And I'm going to feel like a friggin' moron when I figure out who the hell she actually is. But yeah, anyway. And hopefully I'll be able to, at least by the time the next issue of Champions comes out, say who she is and tell all of you how much of an idiot I feel like. Anyways, moving on, we've got Catwoman, number 30. Where we left off in Catwoman, Selina had rescued the Riddler from certain death, and the Riddler informed her that poison ivy was being used, or that somehow poison ivy was involved in making the drugs that the Riddler uses. So, turns out in Alley Town, Enigma's been patched up. Chemical detox overnight was actually pretty rough. He's looking better now. You know, and I was pretty sure that they'll pull through. So, first, Selena shows him the wings. But he explains the drugs. They were amphetamines that he used, and he used them to amplify focus and alertness. Controlled doses at first. However, the cutting agent made him far more potent and addictive than he expected. When he got cut off, he began looking into the operation. Chemical shipments and raw materials. Found out, okay, Icarus Life Sciences. You know, secretive stuff obscured with layers of shell corporations and offshore parent companies. And, he explains that this isn't some thug cooking meth in a basement lab. This is a proper industrial operation. But he analyzed the product and realized that it wasn't synthesized in a lab, it was extracted. But he found the refinery by using an old DEA trick, looking for places that are using way too much power. So he told her where the refinery's at, and Selena basically tells him that, if this is one of his schemes, she's going to regret it. So she goes into it. It's suggested that maybe she could ask Batman for help, but she does bring up the fact that they're staying out of each other's business for a while. The assassin one of the two assassins going after that was involved in the last issue, shows up to meet with the Penguin. This one, Mr. Valley, Father Valley, was instructed to kill Selena. And, hired by the Penguin, no less. But he failed, and Penguin's not happy about this. However, Father Valley promptly kills all of Penguin's henchmen. And then basically says, hey, Catwoman will die by his hand. And until then, just watch out for the storm. So, Selena gets, suits up. The refiner's being cleaned out, and she's going for the trucks. Racing one finds a hard drive, which is probably wiped, but neither truck has Ivy. However, a mysterious figure comes to her at the incinerator where everything's going. And he explains that Ivy was put on a transport out to a big house bordering the South City Park. Belongs to a man named Siddharth Roy, who appears to be heavily involved in Icarus. But yeah, he's got Ivy in a tank, which is now on display at his home, and he's having a big party to show off his new acquisition. Catwoman asks who her benefactor is, and he simply tells her that she'll have answers in good time. But he is a friend. So she goes to the party, and that is where the issue ends. Okay, it's interesting. It's definitely going to be curious as to how and to be fair, if Catwoman's book crosses paths with Harley Quinn's new book. Both are looking for Ivy, but seeing as how Selena may have found her, is probably about to find her, unless we get unless something pops up in next week's Harley Quinn #2. I don't think we're going to be seeing any kind of crossing of paths when it comes to Harley, Ivy, and Selena. But I think they're interesting. I definitely realize I've missed quite a bit when it comes to certain characters in the Bat realm, such as Riddler. I think that talking about his whole, the whole thing with amphetamines in him, I think that may at least in part harken back to the War of Jokes and Riddles. I remember seeing a picture of just a really messed up Riddler a while back, but I can't remember if it was in conjunction with War of Jokes and Riddles or not. But anyway, Catwoman's solid. I'm definitely enjoying the book. I'm glad I opted to start picking it up. Anyway, moving on, we've got Nightwing #79. Where we left off, Nightwing had just learned that he inherited Alfred's secret fortune. I say secret fortune. It's not like he was hiding it from Bruce Wayne or anything. No, he inherited a large amount of money from Thomas and Martha Wayne, and after their passing, and he was paid, he was paid by the Wayne Foundation, or the Wayne, either by I would presume by Bruce Wayne, and it's not like he it's not like Alfred had extravagant tastes, so But among the things that he inherited from Thomas and Martha Wayne were various stocks, and upon being liquidated, they were rather. Alfred was by far the richest butler is probably the richest butler who had ever lived. Also, Nightwing has adopted a dog. The mayor of Bloodhaven was killed by Blockbuster. The deputy mayor, a member of the Zuko family, is likely to become the new mayor. And yeah, I think that about covers everything. So, we get some great point. Nightwing narrates somehow how he spent his life working without a safety net. Actually, this really great. This one I just gotta show up the shot. That's actually a really great shot. I don't mind that we're skipping the mullet era because, well, mullet's bad. I'm usually so, but yeah. So yeah, it's actually a really great shot. I'm loving it. But he mentions his safety nets. His parents, his father, Bruce, his other father, Alfred, his friends, the Titans, and his brothers, Tim, Jason, Damian. Explaining that we all need someone to catch us when we fall. Someone who makes us feel safe. That being said, as we cut to a panel of Barbara with the recently adopted dog that the dog that Nightwing recently rescued, who is apparently sleeping soundly and especially eating double her weight in kibble. But Dick takes Barbara out to dinner at a 24-hour pizza place. Marvin George's, nice little nod there. That he's made her 2 slices, and Bat Babs does remind him he's a billionaire now. So, 4 slices. He ends up buying a whole pie. He takes her to a statue of a guy in a rowboat fighting a sea monster. We get some history about Bloodhaven, how it used to be a whaling town, and the fountain that they're at was built back when people in the city believed they could take on monsters and win. And he likes it, it's still standing. But father and son come up to him, wanting to he expects some change, and suddenly they actually do the light bulb bit with him. But yeah, Nightwing realizes what he wants to do with the money he's just inherited. So the father and son get taken out for get bought food, whatever else they need, and he does. Hey, invite friends, anyone in the area you could use it, do the meal. Don't hold back. And so, getting people pizzas. Everyone's getting pizza. He books Martin and his son, the father and son in question, a room at the Bloodhaven 3 Seasons. So they'll be paid up for the month, but he'll check in after that and see what else he can arrange. Some of the kids pick Dick's pocket, and yes, since Babs is there, it gets put in the group chat. Apparently, Cassandra Cain has no self-control when it comes to emojis. But Martin and his son, while walking down an alley, run into a shadowy figure off to the side. Elliot, Martin's son, is told to go back to the pizza shop and stay there. And Martin is killed by this mysterious new villain, who seemingly rips out his heart. Back at Dick's apartment, it turns out that he's got a micro tracker in his wallet, so Babs says, she can follow it and link up to his earpiece. He asks if he wants to join him, but the new tech that's holding her spine together, not ideal for for leaving her on rooftops. But she's got a new piece of tech that she wants to do a trial of, and it's a micro camera which gets put on Dick's mask. Basically, the idea being that she'll see what he sees. He tracks down the pickpockets. And Dick comes upon Boss Maroney talking to the soon-to-be acting mayor of Bloodhaven, and the 3 pickpockets who actually picked the pocket of one of Maroney's men. They give chase, and yeah, Dick comes in, beats on the thugs. He's told where to find his wallet, tracked by Babs, she ends up calling the police on the thugs. Finds an encampment of just kids, and they ask him if he's the man without a heart. And so he heads back. He says, keep the wallet, keep it, don't worry. But he's finally fully decided what he wants to do with the money. He wants to be a safety net for Bloodhaven. And the issue ends with the mysterious villain standing over Martin's heartless body. Which brings us to our final book of the week. Justice League number 60. So, first off, let's just take a look at this cover, because that is an awesome cover. I mean, just, beautiful. I love it. Everything about it. That should be a poster. Seriously. I need this as a poster without Got all the logos and UPCs and whatnot. So anyway, where we left off. The League is being reformed. Flash, Barry, not Wally, apparently, as is clarified in this issue. Superman, Batman, Aquaman, Black Canary, Green Arrow, Hawkgirl, but an interdimensional bad guys popped up in the Kahndaq, started a fight, got into a fight with Black Adam. The League showed up, and the villain Brutus, left. Doing some research, looking into everything all the recorded info they had from the encounter, the League realized, okay, this guy is from the home reality of a young hero named Naomi. Well, Black Adam also found this out and has gone to speak with Naomi. She's powering up, getting ready to fight him when Superman shows up and pulls him away. And Superman's trying to talk things out, at least stop a fight. So the three then go back to the Watchtower, or to the Hall of Justice. Naomi tells her tale of her world to the League, and she doesn't recognize Brutus though. And Clark drops the bombshell on the rest of the League, or rather, Batman drops the bombshell. The Superman wants to invite Black Adam to talk to the Justice League. And during the argument over this with the League, Green Arrow loses an argument by compliment to Superman. But Brutus reappears, and the League tracks him down to Chicago. Superman and Flash, or Central City, not Chicago, Central City. Superman and Flash arrive on the scene and find Hippolyta standing in a crater. She explains what happened. Brutus popped up on Themyscira. Hippolyta attacked him. He opened a portal. They both went through it, came out there. They continued to fight a bit, but he said, "Okay, I gotta go back and get reinforcements if I'm going to take over this world." But yeah, Hippolyta does not have you see Adam with the League and promptly flies off. Adam doesn't know what the problem is. He's always found Hippolyta to be the most impressive warrior. Batman does his Batman thing. They're trying to figure out how to. And Superman asks if he can, if Batman can shut the barn door to their world so that Brutus can open again. But while Brutus had an odd reaction to Hawkgirl's mace, Naomi doesn't. It's just, she feels 14% cooler than before. But back at the Hall of Justice, Barry has put together a redesign of the original Cosmic Treadmill with everyone's logo on it. He gets to running, and with the hope that they'll end up on Naomi's reality. However, when they arrive, only Naomi seems to materialize in her reality. And that is where the story ends. Which brings us to the backup story, the Justice League Dark backup story. Dangerous Things. the League is listening in to a warning from from Etrigan the Demon. Batman's like, okay, you know what? It's a magical threat. Zatanna thinks this is the best way forward. If she takes the lead, he'd be comfortable with it. But he's not too keen on that. They explained that the only reason they got by on their last mission was Wonder Woman's leadership. But between Detective Chimp and Superman, yeah, she gets the oomph she needs. And so Constantine makes some explanations about Merlin, explaining that the stories speak of Merlin sleeping for ages between his appearances throughout time, but he's heard a different story. Merlin's born with humanity, wanders for centuries farther and longer, returning here only when he has found something of interest. As for him being the good guy, which Green Arrow had implied, when you've wandered so far away from the rest of people, good and bad, probably about looks the same to you. But he goes to a used bookshop, page by page. He's wanting to see some manuscripts, the largest collection of notes and manuscripts of Jorge Luis Borges, including the El Jardín collection. But and so Merlin explains he has no interest in possessing the stories. He's interested in freeing them. And he speaks in an ancient tongue, and everything within the within the notes and manuscripts and whatnot is free. Back at the Hall of Justice, Batman basically says that, explains that he spoke for Justice League Dark because of Zatanna, because she needs us to know that she can lead and inspire. And Batman feels he goes up to Zatara, her father. So he has whatever happens with Team and Merlin, especially Etrigan, if Etrigan has anything to undermine her or hurt her in any way, Batman will come after her. Etrigan scoffs at that, and Batman's like, yeah, well, you can scoff all you like, I'm still Batman. But somebody else arrives at the bookshop later, Rory Reagan, a.k.a. Ragman, bringing some first printings for the owner of Page by Page to take off his hands. Of course, when he sees the books going nuts, well, he, of course, being the hero that he is, goes to investigate. And he finds the owner's dead body, and he activates his suit of rags as the owner's body is being picked apart by vultures. But the story ends with Ragman kicking through a window and kicking the vultures out with him, and that is where the issue in itself comes to an end. And that's to be it for this week's roundup. Yeah. So Justice League. This is for our whole that thing we're now trying, where we opine on the comics. It's good. I am definitely enjoying it. It still very much feels like Bendis' Avengers. Slight differences, but still it really does read a lot like Bendis' Avengers, New Avengers, Mighty Avengers, and Avengers runs from from 15 years, more than 15 years ago. Not necessarily saying it's a bad thing. Those were largely comics I enjoyed, but yeah. I like the idea of Black Adam being on the team. I've heard of Naomi before, but this issue and the issue before are the first issues I've ever actually seen with her actually featuring in a prominent manner. So far, I like the character. Even without Black Adam and Naomi, I like this lineup. I wish it was Wally instead of Barry. But I think The first post-Infinite Frontier issue of Flash kind of set up the idea that Wally is elsewhere, so it would have to. So Barry is having to fill back in on the League. But yeah. Anyway, that's it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Oh, yeah, thoughts on the Justice League Dark story as well. I'm still not sure how I feel about all these DC books having to build towards Future State, or their Future State stories. Everything in the so much stuff in the Bat books is related to Sane Industries and the Peacekeepers and so on and so forth. And I don't know. I really don't know. But anyway, that's it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying live long and rock hard.